Am I the asshole for telling my former stepson the real reason I didn't see him much after the divorce? I was married to my ex-wife for 9 years. I came into my stepson's life when he was 4 and my wife and I divorced when he was 13. It's been 7 years since the divorce. I've since remarried and have 2 kids with my current wife. I raised my stepson, I'll be calling him JT, as my own, and I loved being his father. We were very close and I wanted to adopt him but was constantly blocked by his bio dad, who's a real poss. The divorce between me and my ex-wife was messy. We married too young and looking back, she was a toxic and negative force in my life. I also didn't know it then, but she is also bipolar, which was undiagnosed and untreated when we were together, and it explains a lot of the behavior I witnessed. I wanted to stay in my JT's life since I basically helped raise him, but my ex refused to let me see him and threatened to tell him I'd been a cheater and abuser if I pursued any legal routes for visitation. At the time I was newly laid off and unable to afford a good lawyer. I really regret not fighting harder, calling her bluff, but I was afraid she'd turn him against me or even lie to the police and get me arrested for something I didn't do. JT and I reconnected last year. He's 20 now and living on his own, and in college for engineering at that. We've been playing catch up and he's met my wife and one of my daughters, I've given him some things for his apartment, etc. He eventually asked me why I didn't stick around after his mom and I split. I told him pretty point blank, your mom made sure I couldn't. I didn't go into detail with the threats, or why we split in the first place, but I let him know she had strong-armed me into being no contact. JT was understandably furious. Obviously I didn't expect his mom to have told him the truth, but I didn't realize how in the dark he'd been. I got a call from my ex, I have the same number as I always have, with her cussing me out for slandering her to her son and talking to him in general. This is the first I've heard from her in 5 years, by the way. She apparently hadn't known JT reached out to me. I told her to never contact me again, and that her son's a grown man and can do as he wishes. I've deleted her number and talked to JT, who confirmed that he confronted his mom and they fought. He's clearly really upset that she lied to him for so long and feels really betrayed by her. I feel terrible and I'm wondering if maybe honesty or full honesty wasn't the best policy in this situation. I don't want to cause rifts in a family, even if it's my ex. She and I have a bad history but I know she loves her son. Not the asshole. Poor kid lost his father figure and you have a right to tell him that it's not how you wanted it to go. Seems like his bio parents are pretty trash. Good on you for connecting with him now that he's an adult. Not the asshole. Especially if all you said was that she made sure you couldn't and didn't go into gruesome details. It's the truth and honestly it sounds like he values your relationship. Now he knows you didn't flake, you would have liked to see him then, and now that he can do so on his own you can. He's not some charity case and he's not guilting you into contact now, you wanted to see him all these years. Not the asshole. You didn't talk to him about it as a child, but now that he's an adult, he has every right to know the truth. Rifts in a family happen. You weren't the cause of it, you just brought the truth to light. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know if she's on medication now, but if she is, just explain she was a different person back then, and he shouldn't judge her on the past. Judge her present. If she's a good mother to him, that's what counts between mother and son. Keep being there for him, and keep it honest, just like you are. Not the asshole. It doesn't sound like you went looking for him to stir shit, you reconnected because he still wanted you in his life, and vice versa. He'll probably make up with his mum given a bit of time. Even if the relationship won't be perfect, at least it won't be built on a lie. Not the asshole for telling him the truth. He needed to know why someone he loves so much vanished from his life. His mom needs to be held accountable for her manipulation. What she did to both of your relationships was cruel. Edit. Grammar. Not the asshole. Divorces are rarely not messy, but kids should never be hurt in the process. Your ex never should have cut you out of her son's life. It probably caused a lot of emotional damage for him. I would imagine he felt abandoned. His mom should have told him the truth. Hopefully she's able to be mature and apologize, but it's not your fault if she continues to put her interests above everyone else. Not the asshole. The bio parents seem like a nightmare. Just make sure that you are there for your stepson. Seems like he needs a solid father figure in his life right now. Not the asshole. JT is a grown adult now, and you were important parts of each other's lives. I think it's awesome that you loved him like your own, and tried to stay in his life. While it's a hurtful and difficult situation, I think you did the best you could in the situation. He deserves to know that you didn't abandon him. As long as you're not trashing his mom too badly, honesty is better. Not the asshole. I didn't go into detail with the threats, or why we split in the first place, but I let him know she had strong-armed me into being no contact. Showed a lot of restraint here. Not the asshole. He asked and you gave him a hard truth. If she can't deal with that, she shouldn't have lied to begin with. Not the asshole. I'm sure it deeply wounded you when you couldn't see him. It obviously deeply wounded JT too. She is responsible for that wound. You told him the truth about why. You didn't go into all the gory details. But you let him know that you wanted to be there, but mother blocked you off. She is reaping what she has sown. Not the asshole. To quote Yondu, you may not have been his father, but you sure were his daddy. Not the asshole. Let's be really clear about what happened here. Your ex-wife made one of the most selfish decisions a parent can make and not only robbed her son of more people to love him, she outright let him believe he was abandoned. That kind of betrayal is heinous. She is responsible for this rift, and as someone who has grown up with wonderful step-parents, I applaud you for having so much love for a child that was not yours that you would go to this effort to include in your life. Thank you, and don't let anyone convince you differently. Not the asshole. I'm sure it was oddly comforting to him to know that you would have seen him if you could, and that it was his mom's fault. His mom will always be his mom, and anyone who would do what she did to you has and will do more, so he'll see more evidence of it and have to decide on his relationship with her. Hopefully you two can maintain contact now that it's re-established. Not the asshole. Poor kid, and poor you. I'm sorry. Not the asshole. He needed to know the truth, as otherwise would have thought you didn't care, which you obviously do. If your ex is upset her son found out about her shitty behavior, she should have thought of that at the time and not behaved in a shitty way. Not the asshole. He was your son too, and she kept him from you simply out of pettiness. I don't know their dynamic, but I do know if she actually cared, she wouldn't have alienated her son from the only positive male role model he had. I honestly hope for the best for you two. I hope you guys will be speaking to each other more often. Remember, he asked and you answered honestly, you are not responsible for their relationship. Not the asshole. Keep being the awesome influence and loving parent you have been. He asked, you explained. It's all on her. Not the asshole. And can I just say that how you say, my JT, is so sweet and so terribly heartbreaking for both of you. Not sure if you meant it or just a typo, but damn my heart. It must have been traumatizing for JT when his mother kicked you out of his life. I'm sorry about that. JT came looking for you. He had a right to know that his mother refused to let you contact him. He's an adult. He has every right to see you if he wants, and I hope you two can repair your relationship. Not the asshole, but the mom sure is. Not the asshole. I am having a similar talk with my son. His father and grandparents made sure to make it extremely difficult to stay in his life after a nightmare of a divorce. They went to great lengths and spent a lot of money, which I didn't have, to try to sever the bond my son and I have. He is a grown adult now, and they are pulling the same controlling shit on him with money that they did on me. I'm now supporting him to the best of my ability, as he is in college in another state, and our relationship is more solid than ever. I have not told him the extent of the nightmare they put me through, but he has quickly figured it out. I am honest when he asks me questions. It's that honesty that opens the doors for kids to trust us. Keep being you. Sorry for format issues. I'm on mobile. Not the asshole. He's an adult who thought a parental figure had voluntarily abandoned him. He deserved to know the truth, and to know that he still has a parental figure he can trust. Not the asshole. I think it was good for TJ to know you wanted to continue being his father. That you wanted to, but the choice was taken out of your hands. Your ex put herself over TJ time and time again, e.g. making TJ lose his father figure, lying about why you left, etc. She doesn't get to play the victim card here. TJ was obviously crushed when you left, since he hunted you down after all this time. Poor kid probably felt so abandoned. I hope you guys can resume a good relationship, that's all that matters here. Not the asshole. 1. He's an adult now. 2. He initiated contact. 3. He asked and he deserved an honest answer. 4. She learned that you reap what you sow. JT must have been incredibly hurt when he lost his father figure. You owed him the truth. Kids blame themselves when things like this happen, and he needed to know he was not at fault. Block her and be there whenever he needs you. You're a good man, Op. Not the asshole. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, as they say. Poor kid. Not the asshole. You've known him since he was a toddler and loved him as your own and were even willing to adopt him if his dad hadn't have not let you. He asked and you answered truthfully, not knowing that his mom hadn't told him the truth. You gave him the truth and didn't slander your ex, which was the correct thing to do. She's just pissed he knows the truth and is mad at her. If anything, she's the asshole here, not you. Not the asshole. I feel terribly for your former stepson. I can't imagine how it must have felt having two father figures leave, especially since he seemed to have a good relationship with you. It must have devastated him, especially since your wife seemingly didn't address it. There was nothing you could have done. Your ex was his biological mother. So what she says goes, that is until he turned 18. I hope you continue your relationship. I just hope that you try to console your ex-stepson. He must have been hurt by your absence regardless of it being your fault or not. It's clear you care about him by this post. Not the asshole. He's not a baby, and he deserves to know why his dad suddenly disappeared. Plus, he probably dealt with a lot of hurt and rejection feelings when it happened, and now he can fill that hole in his bucket with the truth that you did care and didn't just bail on him. Not the asshole. He asked, and he's an adult. I realize people shouldn't bother a child with the baggage of divorce, but frankly, if one party actively lies or threatens to lie to the child, then I feel like all bets are well and truly off. And again, he's an adult. His mother shouldn't have built a foundation of lies to keep positive influences out of his life just because she sociopathically saw no issue in cutting them out. She reaps what she sows. It wasn't your job to keep him blind to his mother's faults. You have as much a relationship than she at this point. It was almost a decade together. Not the asshole, but this is an example of what happens when you don't put the best interest of the child, now a man, first. If their relationship don't survive the betrayal, yes it was one, then it's not your fault. Just like her and your son can feel the need to stay away for a while from her. She too can be upset, but it's her fault anyway. It all the consequences of bad decisions. Not the asshole. I had a man who was in my life since I was 6. I love him, and still do. He will always be my father figure along with my current stepdad. Not the asshole. He deserved the truth. She has no one but herself to blame for her choices. Not the asshole. You probably helped him with a lot of lingering abandonment questions and feelings by telling the truth. Really sorry your son got taken away from you that way. He's your son, blood or not. I hope you guys can catch up on missed time. Good news is that you're both still very young. It's not slander if it's the truth. Not the asshole. Glad you two are able to have a father-son relationship again. Not the asshole. You were his father. She's 100,000% the asshole for keeping him in the dark and taking away the only true father figure he ever had. You did the right thing. It's finally catching up with her. Not the asshole. You owed that honesty to him. You loved him. Clearly he loved you enough to find you, reconnect and work up the courage to ask you why didn't stick around without an ounce of anger. You did the right thing. Not the asshole. She robbed him of a dad, and that's not what a loving parent does. Not the asshole. Chances are he already knew his mom is, let's say, less than ideal. It's good that he knows that the man that raised him cared and wanted to be part of his life. Kids almost always blame themselves when a parent leaves. It's better he rightly blame his mom than himself. Not the asshole. Please continue to rebuild your relationship with JT. He can handle his mother, even if that means distancing himself from her. She betrayed him by not allowing you in his life. Not the asshole. Best he knows, otherwise he could believe you didn't really care about him. Not the asshole. The guy deserves to know the truth and to know you didn't willfully abandon him. He obviously still cares if he's willing to reach out to you and wants a relationship with you. It's the ex's own fault for not being willing to do what was not only in her best interest but especially her son's. Not the asshole. He needs to lean. His mom was childish and immature and he suffered cause of it. Might save him grief later on in life. Not the asshole. He asked you a question and you gave him an honest answer. If the truth will make you look bad, then you probably shouldn't have behaved that way. Not the asshole at all, ever. You are awesome for waiting for him to come around and letting the truth be known to him as an adult. Not the asshole. Honesty was absolutely the best thing. He deserves the truth. I truly hope you two can build a lifelong relationship now that he's an adult. Not the asshole. He's an adult and he deserved the truth. Not the asshole. How many times in his life has his mom put her wants over his needs? He should know what kind of person she is in case he ever thinks he can rely on her to be a good person in the future. Her selfishness might show itself if he gets married or has a family, and if the cutthroat tactics she uses are known to him in advance, he will believe it when someone else comes to him saying she are using them again. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You didn't go into the nitty details about it. You explained it as neutrally as you could.